Hello everyone, welcome back to next section of this training. In this section we will review some of the tools which is been published by sapbuddy.com so that you can have some more ideas how to create this type of VBA interface or programs. Okay, the first program which we are going to see is it's a job analyzer. If you see in this particular program, you get this warning message: security warning, macro have been disabled. If you see in our initial macro enable requirement that we did not enable the macros without warning, that's the reason we get this warning. You say enter, then it's already enabled, macro is enabled. Okay, this particular VBA program is created to analyze the background job for your system. Generally these kind of informations are not available in SAP. It's basically 3 different tables which you can analyze. So you don't have this kind of report in SAP. This particular report is very helpful for basis and other consultant. So let's start reviewing the code. So if we see this status bar, application display status bar, this status bar, what it represents is the status bar here. You can display some specific information, what is the progress of your this program. This kind of information you can display it here. That's the reason, but it's not been used here. Then as you know, we are specifying some of the worksheets here. We have 3 worksheets and 1 workbook, and we also defined 1 workbook here. We specified the name of this particular Excel file. That means if you change this specific worksheet, that means if you change this specific workbook, this program may not run. Then you need to change this name also, because you are here we are defining the workbook. It's like this. Then we are saying workbook dot worksheet. That means from this workbook, this worksheet. So if you change this name, then you need to change this name in the coding as well. The idea behind that is nobody should change the name of this specific worksheet. That's the reason. So we have another worksheets. Then we are doing the clearing content, which we already know how to do this one. If you say there's some contents which is saved in the periodic and ad hoc jobs, then we are just simply selecting that and deleting the contents, and quite number of initialization. This is all in WS main, the main worksheet. We are changing all this value to 0. Then we are calling the object, create object SAP function. So we are using the user ID, password and all other logon information here. And then you can see we are using one more RFC function, which is RFC underscore B. So we are calling 2 times, and we are calling one more time, which is 3rd time. Here what we are doing is we are calling the object itself instead of calling the RFC. Same like in our previous method, what we did is we just created the object once, then we started only creating but we created the variant for function module in different times. This we are logging in 3 different times, alternate login, and calling 3 different RFCs. And first we are calling some information from this table. Put it here. You can also see this status, application status bar. Then we specify extracting background sys. That means this value. Then you can see the progress of this particular program in the status bar. Then we are calling the second table RFC B. then we take the status from there, then we call the third table based on some field and field names. If you see, there is one more point which you need to note, that these values which we are using it from the previous tables, here you can see we added this row 2 times. So there is a limitation in the option field that you can add a minimum number of characters. You cannot have a long lengthy validation. So what we can do is we can add 2 rows in this option field and add additional validations. Okay, that will be quite easy. So if you have some lengthy characters which you want to validate, then you better you add additional row. That will be quite easy. Then we are validating, then we are using some case. After that, quite number of if conditions. Select case statement is used in many of the programming languages. Based on the case, then we will add, if it is A, then we will add 1 here. If it is F, then we will add 1 here. Like this, it will increase the report. So we just using very simple method of additions in this values. Then if it is a periodic job, then we are just going and updating the table. So once we got all this informations, we are saving in a variable. Then once everything is fine, if it is a periodic job, we will update this worksheet. If it is a non-periodic, that is ad hoc job, then we will update this worksheet. That's what it says, and we just log off. It's a very simple program, and it's a very useful program for basis consultant especially, and all the functional consultant. That reason behind that is, when you run an SAP system to identify how many periodic jobs running and work running under which user, it's all quite important information. So we can get this kind of information in one go. This is our first program. This same program, right the moment we are logging in using user ID and password, the same program, the VBA program, we also created in SNC. Let's see how does the SNC works. Go to SNC. Okay, enable content. For SNC, we added additional fields here just for testing, and it's tested, it's working. If you see, we just made a validation here. If this is X, then we will validate. You can have a if condition, this is incomplete. If the if condition is X, then we will do this. If else, then we need to put this back here. Okay, here you can see that we use the statement same like what we have seen in our previous sessions, using this sap.logon.control. Then we will log in, then we will say R3 connection is equal to connect. Then it goes to R3. Then I can use the variable same like before, R3. Then same like this, I am doing R3 underscore B. Then I will bind to R3 underscore B is equal to connect, CONN. Same like this, I will do the same thing for C. Then I can continue the same method as it is we used to do it for the non-SNC systems. So we can complete this validation. If it is SNC, then you will log in like this. If it is non-SNC, then you will log in like this. So that's a very simple idea. So SNC works like this. Is very important nowadays. SNC, how to interface with SNC. So we have a one sample of this SNC. Then let me go to the next program. This is an user inventory report. This is an interesting program. This have two modules. One is for extraction, you can see here. One is for extraction, another one is for creating reports. For extraction, we are initially what we are doing is we are defining this workbooks and initializing some old data. I'm deleting the user list from here, and here what you can see that this is little more nicer way of programming it. We are defining all the variables initially, and this program also we use the trace level. We just added the trace level in the worksheet itself, so that it will be easy for the user to trace if there is a problem. As well as we are using a different BAPI, the BAPI underscore user get details. This function module or BAPI can get the user details. Otherwise we need to log in, we need to extract data from different tables. Instead of that, we have a BAPI, we directly call this BAPI. Okay, and if you can see that after that BAPI we are saying, okay, p username is equal to my function, that is BAPI export username. Then p address is equal to import address. Okay, then we use two function modules here. One is for RFC read table, another is for reading the user details using a different function module. So for both of them we give a different names. So once we call this one, when we'll take the total number of users, if you can see here, we call the first one table, then we take the total number of users, then we loop for the total number of users. So user ID, we will take it from that table, and we give the user ID as an input parameter for the second function module. Then we get the details from there, the title, first name, last name, and everything. It's a quite interesting coding. You can review this code, and you can also use this kind of method to extract data. Use different function module, whatever the function module which is easy for you, then you can extract the data. If let's say in this case, if we do not use this function module, then we need to almost call this, we almost need to get this information from 6 or 7 tables. This is more easier to extract the data. And the next VBA code which you wanted to see is role document tool. This is an interesting tool. What this does is that it creates Word documents. Let's say if you see here, this will log into SAP. It will, for the composite roles, it will create a Word document. As you can see, visible document add. These are all VBA application. Using this particular program, that you can generate documentation for your SAP roles from the RFC. Using RFC read table, we take the single roles in the composite roles, and each composite roles, then we give some titles for this Word document, then we can generate the Word document automatically. This is also a very interesting concept. The reason is that you may be creating quite a lot of documentation during your project phase. So if you wanted to create documentation based on some tables, then you can use these kind of automated programs to generate this documentation. It's also interesting tool. These tools will be available for you to download, and we will explain you how to download this in the coming session. With this, we are coming to the end of the session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.